Most important points of this stretch are that you keep your hand relaxed, you don't have any gripping tension in your fingertips, you're just using the flat palm of your hand for friction on the wall. Second point is that you are simply using your feet to support your body upright, okay? We don't want to be tipped or leaning against the wall. I want to be able to stand on my own without having any weight in my hand. So we want to make sure that we're using external rotation of our shoulder. We want to have our point of our elbow pointing at the ground. Fourth part is when we take the deep breath, we want to make sure that we're using a full range of motion expansion of our rib cage. Think of a balloon that expands in 360 degrees in all directions. Fifth part is that we use our feet to turn the cylinder of our body. We aren't just twisting and keeping our feet stationary. We want to try different angles of our hand on the wall. The higher we are, the more we're going to be affecting the lower fibers of our pecs down from off our sternum and our rib cage. The lower our hand is on the wall, the more we're going to be affecting the clavicular division of our pec major. What highlights the restriction in my front of my chest and shoulder the most, out there, feels good, and I'm going to use my feet to turn my body as a cylinder away from my hand. When I get to the end range of that restriction, it doesn't feel like it wants to go anymore. I'm going to take a full range of motion breath with my rib cage, and as I exhale, I'm going to look with my eyes in the way I want to twist, and I'm going to use my feet to slowly walk myself further around. And again, this is during the exhale. And I can repeat and see if I get some more range. Full range of motion breath. And then you can repeat the process. Try some different heights to see where you feel the most restriction, and use your feet to turn the cylinder away from your hand on the wall. The muscles we want to keep in mind as we let our shoulder girdle move further back behind us. We want to think about the deep layer. We've got serratus anterior. Now, serratus anterior comes from this place on the shoulder blade and wraps deep to it around to the front of our rib cage. So off this line, and it attaches to our first 7 ribs behind our pecs. We want to think about pec minor, which comes off the coracoid process, which is this little bump of the shoulder blade, and attaches to ribs 3 through 5. So that's here, off again the coracoid process to ribs 3 through 5. We want to think about pec major. Again, the clavicular division of pec major inserts a little more distally on our arm, and it comes off the clavicle and the upper portion of our rib cage. And then we want to think about the sternocostal division of our pec major, as well as the abdominal head, which comes off the ribs and the sternum and has some attachments down into our abs, and it inserts a little bit more proximally on the arm. Then we want to think about some tone setters. They are more like instruments that let you know what distance feels okay for the shoulder blade to move. And we're thinking about the omohyoid, which comes off our hyoid bone, or the Adam's apple, and attaches to the superior angle of our scapula. And then we have subclavius, which attaches to the bottom of the clavicle and comes off the first rib here. If you can keep all of these tissues and the different layers in mind and think about them as 2 points of a line, your arm to these origins of the muscles on your rib cage, visualize those points moving away from each other. And again, expect this to happen as you exhale. Enjoy.